Hello grade 10 students. Welcome to another virtual class. I am Miss Madhu Vadge. We are studying chapter 14, Statistics. A data that is collected in statistics is represented using measure of central tendency, which are of three types: mean, median and mode. In previous two classes we have learnt how to calculate mean of grouped data using two methods, direct method and assumed mean method. In today's video class we will learn how to calculate mode of a grouped data, which is also measure of central tendency. Let's start by recalling the definition of mode for an ungrouped data that we studied in grade 9. Mode is that value among the observations which occur most often. This means that mode is that value of observation that has maximum frequency. So to find the mode of an ungrouped data, we just have to find the observation that has the highest frequency. So let's consider an example of an ungrouped data. The wickets taken by a bowler in 10 cricket matches are as follows. We can arrange this data in tabular form showing the frequency for each observation as shown over here. So the number of wickets here represents the observation xi and the number of matches represent the frequency. So find the observation which has the highest frequency. The highest frequency is 3, which is for this observation, which is 2. So the mode of this data is 2. What this means is 2 wickets were taken by a bowler maximum number of times. This is something we have already studied in lower classes. Now we will study the new concept, that is, learn a method to find out mode for a grouped data. In case of grouped data, the observations are represented in the form of class intervals, and each class interval has a frequency. Now looking at the frequency, we can find out which is the highest frequency. Class interval that corresponds to the highest frequency will contain mode. So in order to find mode from that class interval, we will have to use a formula, which is given by L plus in brackets f1 minus f0 divided by 2f1 minus f0 minus f2 into h, where L is the lower limit of the class interval corresponding to the highest frequency. So this class interval with the highest frequency is called as modal class. F1 is the frequency of the modal class, F0 is the frequency of the class preceding the modal class, F2 is the frequency of class succeeding the modal class, that is after the modal class, and h is the class size of the class interval for a data where all class sizes are equal. The mode can also be calculated for grouped data that has unequal class sizes, but in this chapter the syllabus is limited to only data that has equal class sizes. So we will calculate mode only for data that has equal class size. Now this is a very easy formula to apply. You just have to remember the formula correctly. So let's apply this formula to answer some questions of exercise 14.2. Question number 1. The following table shows the age of patients admitted in a hospital during a year. The first row gives class intervals of these patients in years, and the second row gives the number of patients So that is the frequency. Find the mode and mean of given data and compare and interpret the two measures of central tendency. Let's first find the mode of this data. First, we have to identify the modal class. Modal class is the class interval that has the highest frequency. So clearly, the highest frequency is 23 and corresponding to it, the class interval is 35 to 45. So modal class is 35 to 45. Now we have to mark the frequencies F0, F1 and F2. F0 is the frequency of class preceding the modal class. So F0 is 21. F1 is the frequency of the modal class and F2 is the frequency of class succeeding the modal class. And now we have to find the class size, which is H, which is upper limit minus the lower limit of any class interval. So 15 minus 5 is 10. The lower limit of the modal class is denoted by L, which is given by 35. So now we have all the data to fill in the formula. So mode is equal to L plus in brackets F1 minus F0 divided by 2F1 minus F0 minus F2 multiplied by H. Make sure that you write the formula every time you use it. There are two benefits of this. Number one, it helps in memorizing. Number two, in case you have made an error in substituting the values in this formula, you will get marks at least for writing the correct formula. So let's substitute this data. 35 plus in brackets 23 minus 21 divided by 2 into 23 minus 21 minus 14 in brackets H. So this is equal to 35 plus 2 divided by 46 minus 35 into 10. That is 35 plus 20 divided by 11. 20 on 11 is 1.82. So on adding we get 36.82 years. Now we will find mean for this data. In order to calculate mean, I have drawn a table with 5 columns. In the first column, we have to write down class intervals, and in another column, we have to write down the number of patients, which is the frequency. For each class interval, we have to calculate class mark, which is the sum of upper limit and lower limit divided by 2. So, the class marks are 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 and 60. We are finding the mean using assumed mean method. So we will have to choose one value from xi which lies in the center. So let's say 30 is the assumed mean. So A is equal to 30. Now let's find di for each xi, which is xi minus A. So we will get minus 20, minus 10, 0, 10, 20, 30. Now find the product of frequency and the deviation for each xi value. So we will get minus 120, minus 110, 0, 230, 280 and 150. The sum of negative numbers will be minus 230. The sum of positive numbers is 660. So summation Fi di is minus 230 plus 660, that is equal to 430. And summation Fi is 80. So the mean x bar is equal to a plus summation Fi di divided by summation Fi, that is equal to 30 plus 430 divided by 80, that is 30 plus 5.38, that is equal to 35.38 years. Now let's compare the value of mean with value of mode. Mean is 35.38 and value of mode is 36.82 years. So this implies that mean and mode can be two different values that represent measure of central tendency for the same data. Let us solve another question. This is question number 5 of the same exercise. The given distribution shows the number of runs scored by some top batsmen of the world in one-day international cricket matches. Find the mode of the data. So the column that represents number of batsmen is the frequency. Runs scored is the observations. The first step is to find the modal class. Modal class is the class which has highest frequency. The highest frequency is 18 and corresponding to this frequency the class interval is 4000 to 5000. So this is the modal class. Now we have to mark the frequencies F0, F1 and F2. F0 is the frequency of the class preceding the modal class. So this will be F0. Frequency of the modal class is F1 and frequency of the class succeeding the modal class is F2. And the class size H is 1000. So now mode is equal to L plus F1 minus F0 divided by 2F1 minus F0 minus F2 into H. The lower limit of the modal class is 4000. So now substituting these values we get 4000 plus in bracket 18 minus 4 divided by 2 into 18 minus 4 minus 9 multiplied by H. So this is 4000 plus 14 divided by 36 minus 4 minus 9 into 1000. So this is equal to 4000 plus 14,000 divided by 23. So 4,000 plus 14,000 divided by 23 in decimal form is 608.7. So this is equal to 4,608.7 runs. So 4,608.7 runs are scored by maximum number of batsmen. With this we come to the end of this video lesson. Your assignment for today are these questions from exercise 14.2. Question number 2, 3, question number 4 and question number 6. See you in the next class. Until then, goodbye.